For those of you tuning in to Coffees with Tyler, I was slightly delayed, so welcome. If you're watching out there, before I forget, do I?
1 minute?
Oh,
More
man.
than I want.
I had an executive committee with our board via Zoom, so that's where I was. And so this,
I was bored. Haven't seen them in ages.
I know. We'll talk about that, Shirley. It's a great point. So welcome to September 9th.
Yeah.
Fall is upon us.
Right?
Can't believe it.
It's yippee.
It is.
Is it cool out? I haven't been out today.
I've been sleeping with the windows open, and it makes me not want to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, you curled up in bed and all set there. So before I forget, for those of you that watch, and I know there's many, the quick trivia with Mike. He actually has a scholarship recipient on with him that was taped with him. So if you want to meet the scholarship recipient, please tune in to Quick Trivia with Mike. And I'm not even going to say the name. I'm going to leave it up to you to tune in.
Is there only one?
It's only one right now. So
okay.
Mike will be. We're working to make sure all of our scholarship recipients have the opportunity to say thank you. And again, it's incredible the generosity that the residents and the treasure chest have been able to have. We awarded close to $13,000 in scholarships just this year. Over close to $40,000 has been gifted in scholarships to our staff members, all based on the proceeds of the treasure chest. That's quite incredible. A credit to you all. Again, that's a credit to really those thoughtful individuals that when I first came, which will be 4 years in October, I can't believe that either, said, hey, can we run this treasure chest and thrift store? Libby Sellers. She's one of the as a resident council chair, along with the Bergs, who are so integral in that, as well as since then all the volunteers. I know Miss Fritz and Miss Comstock and just so many of you, and I just can't say thank you on behalf of our employees, on behalf of the scholarship recipients, and just that volunteerism, that sense of purpose as well. And again, special thanks to Mike Brever, who really helps lead that along with the residents and supports that. So thank you. Hello. Can I get you a cup of coffee?
Oh, I can get it.
I can get it. I'm already halfway
Just
there.
black.
Just black, decaf or regular?
Regular.
Cream or sugar?
No, just black.
Just black. There you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So, Coffee with Tyler. The first question was about, I was just mentioning that I came right from a Zoom meeting with our board of directors. I meet with them on a monthly basis, Lindsay and myself. And so Shirley had asked, well, how is the board? And the board is doing well. Unfortunately, you've not seen the board here as much or really at all in the last almost year, based on our restrictions primarily. I can share with you that they are very active, involved, and engaged with the community on the outset. They were obviously the ones that went through the budget process with us in recommending and approving the 3% increase to your monthly service fees. They're actively engaged in the development plan and expansion and renovations. But that's all been done via Zoom. We really utilize technology so that it's a benefit to them to be able to stay home. The piece that they really hate and they miss is obviously you and the interaction they get to have with each other and just engaging with the community in the touch and feel.
If they can communicate with you on Zoom, why can't they with us?
They can. Do you want me to set something up?
I think really they should be the ones that would be
Okay.
doing that. I mean, they should have thought of that.
Yeah. I mean,
Just a connection.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Can I get you a cup of coffee, Ms. Crump?
No, thank you.
So let me talk with the board. You know, and again, if you are going to be on the Edelweiss on Friday, you'll see a few of them as well. So again, you'll have the opportunity, but we can definitely see how they can, because I know that's something that Ken Kernan, the board chair, has been missing. And unfortunately, he's had some plans to be here, and then unfortunately, I've kind of said, you know, just hang tight. So again, but again, technology is a beautiful thing, and so we can give for sure. But they're all doing well. They all wish East Castle Place, and not wish, but continue to support East Castle Place and pass along their hellos. So,
Tyler, I have a challenge. I have been without a computer for 10 days now, and it's the signal from the company
Here.
that,
Here.
East Castle.
East
East
Castle
Castle.
had problems.
and I
the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Yes.
I haven't, my computer does not work, I haven't had it for 10 days. I've had Kevin up there 3 times, and he said, I'll call, he keeps saying, I'll call them and tell them to give, you know, that he said the signal is weak, right, and then he couldn't, you know, but he said, well, maybe you'll have to move your computer from the desk into the living room. And I said, I've had it going for 1.5 years
Right.
in this place, and I don't want to move it, and I need to have my computer going, and it's,
And of course, we live right by each other, and lately mine's been saying, no, you know.
yeah, and so
and
mine
is,
too.
and so is
I
the other
finally did
side.
it, you
And
know.
that's my first time I've ever had any,
I was gonna say this is the first time hearing of it.
except
No.
it screwed up my operating system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it will tell me I don't have, and I thought, what do you?
I know.
And then I'd go, and it's on, and I
Yeah,
go
yeah.
back.
Right.
Sandy says the same thing on the other side, but I don't have it at all.
Oh, you don't have it at all, yeah,
No,
I can get in, but it takes
oh,
2 or 3 times.
fine, okay.
okay. Well, that sounds like a challenge that I'm accepting on behalf of my IT team. Because again, we know that's a service that we need to provide for you. And fortunately, it's been very reliable over the last however many
Yeah.
months. So we have a little bit of a hiccup, and again, we'll work through that hiccup so that we can have support for you.
Good.
Well, they said they had some problems with Spectrum.
Spectrum has given us fits, but if it's the Wi-Fi, that's a different company.
Okay.
Spectrum, cable providers are fun to work with if you've worked with them in your past. So unfortunately, sometimes we're on Spectrum's watch and calendar, and you know, but we do have good relationships with Spectrum. I will say that. So again, but yes, Spectrum's had issues intermittently
Saturday
as well.
night, we were watching tennis in the afternoon, and we went down for dinner, came back, no sound.
Really?
Nothing I could get, and I called them, and she worked through it, and she said, no, I can't get it. She said, you'll have to have a workman come out there, and the next day I turned it on, and it was there. And then I got a telephone call, well, Spectrum has been having trouble in your area, so.
So, for those of you viewing, if you are having issues with Spectrum, and what we're talking about is our Wi-Fi, I will be with Kevin and Joel right after this to figure out what that solution is and what we've tried and why we're still having issues.
That'd be
So,
good.
and it's sounding like your end of the building,
But no,
but
You have-
But now, and I've never had a problem
Right.
before.
and now you are too.
I've had 2. I had one where it interrupted my installation of a new operating system and screwed up my whole computer, and it still hasn't been corrected.
Did you put in a work order for
Oh,
something
honey,
to come
no,
take a
I
look
went
at?
to Apple. I
Oh.
brought it into Apple.
Okay.
They reinstalled the system, and then I had to do my backup, and I can go on. This has gone on since April.
Oh, jeez.
22 hours I've been on the phone with Apple.
Wow. All right, well, I'm very, very sorry for that.
So,
Technology, the best thing and the worst thing.
oh,
when it's
you
not
can't do
used.
without it.
Can't be without it,
Yeah, it's really hard.
so. What else? What other questions?
I have a real concern.
Okay.
Something I mentioned to you, I think it was last week. And, I thought maybe just a glitch for a day or two. But the last 6 nights, I've gone down to the gate that goes to the lower patio court button. And the door's open. I've been going like 8 or 9 when it's dark. I can walk right, no, and I did finally think maybe it's because I'm opening it from inside, it messes it up. So 2 nights I went down outside and it's wide open. And then I walked through the patio and I can walk right by Lindsay Hall. I can get the whole way in with nothing.
Okay.
And I think that is a serious problem.
Could be.
I really do, because anybody,
Definitely.
yeah,
And, you do that to the parking lot and an
Yeah.
open door.
yeah, I know, and that's it, I really, it concerns me.
Well, I'm sorry for that, Lib, because you brought it to my attention, and it didn't get followed through on. So I will own that, and it will be locked. If you want to tonight, check it. I don't expect you to, because that's our job, and your safety and security is why I think the large majority of you live here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so again, anytime that is in question is always a concern for me, and so that will be rectified, and then of course it will continue to be rectified on an ongoing, consistent basis. I do know that, the interior doors are supposed to be locked, however, that residents do have keys to those. But again, that's another check that our security team will do, and do after, but they don't come into around 10:30.
Yeah.
So there's that time frame between there that,
Larry Hammond used to, at the movie or whatever, he would always go and lock the door,
Yeah.
because it was open to the,
Well, but I went out to the patio party yesterday and coming back in, I was locked out. I had to use my key to get back in, probably that same door.
yeah, well, I'd rather use it, personally, I'd rather use it.
But it was locked in the afternoon.
Well, it
when
was
there
last
was a
night,
doing.
8, 9,
Right.
walked right through,
When
into
there was
the,
a doing, so everybody was locked out.
well, and again, of course, there are 2 doors there, and one of them's usually locked.
Yes, the right hand of the two is
Yeah,
always.
but again,
Well, I have a security concern. There is no one at that desk all night. And I know how you think you solve that someone is connected by a phone. I called tonight, I had no response, but, I think, the primary reason that everyone is here is safe. Obviously, we didn't feel safe in our homes, we needed help, we came here. Now, one of the security people left because they are required to do garbage. Now, you can't do security and garbage at the same time. Garbage is a big thing here, big building, big. Why is that being done? Security and garbage. Why don't we have security people?
well, and they do other things too, well, we talked about people walking out with no one
Yes,
on the desk.
and there's no one at the desk. There should be someone at that desk.
so the question has been raised about the security, and arrangements at the front desk and somebody being at the front desk.
And security people do not do garbage. You have to have people with specific jobs. Security is an important job. And I don't see, you already had somebody left because you put the garbage on them there. They were hired as security, not as garbage.
I'd be interested in that, because that was not a part of anything I've been aware of. So again, maybe we can chat after, but the reason why garbages are a part of third shift is they are rounding in the building. That is part of security. When you're sitting at the front desk, you don't see the rest of the building. You don't see the other entrances. Yes, there's camera systems, but you don't physically walk around. And so that walking around is part of the security for the campus, as opposed to somebody sitting at the front desk that is essentially sitting.
You need both.
So, again, trying to be efficient and effective with the security. Obviously, security is, again, I've said it once, but obviously it's a concern. And so I need to rectify that. Obviously, there's security with the doors being locked, and I know that you can exit out them. But again, I thought we also resolved that.
Is there a company that could be hired?
We've tried 5 different companies to come out, and unfortunately, I can't even get them to return phone calls because they are understaffed and they don't return phone calls. So again, that's really why we've kind of gone to the 2-tier type of system. So,
You know, I had real problems with that. And,
And you weren't, and Bill wasn't the only one. I think before you, gosh, I can't remember her name, Barbara. Her husband was the editor at the Journal.
I think it was Wells, but it's
I
another
forgot
one.
his name.
Yeah.
He also wanted that.
when was that?
That must have been before you came.
Okay, and that's when we did have somebody at the front desk. And
24 hours, we had people at the front desk, or do we only want them till midnight, or what
we
would be the front
we have
desk?
somebody here responsible for, we have somebody at the front desk from 7 to 8 that's responsible for sitting, answering phone calls, things of that nature. Essentially from 6 a.m. when the security guard is taking that last hour to sit and respond, because that's when we see people start getting up, from 7 a.m. until essentially 11 p.m. That's when either Lila or Famata, are there, and then we have that over the weekend. Then from essentially 10 to 7, we have a security guard. They spend, I would say, probably 3 to 4 hours of their shift at that front desk. The other 3 to 4 hours, they are rounding in the community, picking up garbages, and responding to calls. So that prior to that, we had an individual sitting at the front desk, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so again, that position, was essentially something that I felt we could do more with, because, the exteriors, things of that nature, making sure doors were locked, things of that nature. Also, because of the nursing response and support that they needed, we would have somebody that would be capable of going overnight. That's why that change was made 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And so, again, we've rehauled our entire video surveillance system. That is reactionary. Well, we don't have somebody watching. Even Lila and Famata don't watch that 24/7. If you, again, there's costs associated with everything too, right? And so again, and not that security should ever be considered from a cost standpoint, but we've invested in a lot of different ways to keep each of you safe and secure. With that being said, we're investing again, as I put in my memo last week, about the pendant system that you all have, and what we're changing there, because the pendant system is antiquated to a degree and needs updating. And with that, there'll also be a check-in button for you, so that each morning when you wake up, you'll press a button and we'll know that you're good to go. That's something that we currently don't have, and that's a safety concern, right? That's a security concern.
St. John's has had it for about 50 years.
Yes.
My mother was there with the same thing. If you didn't check in the morning, they came to make
Right.
sure you were okay.
Right.
I believe isn't there a list of people who've asked?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And
they
that,
will call.
and that's
They
the,
don't.
yep. And so now it's not gonna be an ask, it's gonna be a
Requirement.
requirement. And so again, something that unfortunately I felt we've needed for some time, and we're moving forward with it here in the next couple of weeks to enhance that safety and security that you all want and should need to feel.
And the
so-
parking lot too is another
The
issue.
parking lot, the gate will be in hopefully mid-October.
What was the hang up there? My car was broken into 3 months ago. And as far as I know, there had not been any improvement made since then, until you just had another two, not only broken into, but taken away.
No, we've been working with contractors. We have 4 different contractors that require to get the gate in.
Now,
We
how is that gonna affect visitors who wanna use the parking lot? There's a
A
gate.
full memo will be given
Okay.
to ensure that you all. So Sandra, to your point, the question was, my car was broken into, and there were cars before yours broken into.
Right.
And so we've been working with contractors since that time. We've finalized, had approvals since August, end of July. And now there's lead times, obviously. And that's primarily it. It's 8 weeks to get a gate, which is sad, but true. And then there's the installation of it. And we have 3 different trades involved, 4 actually, because we have a camera that's being installed. We have the concrete that needs to get drilled out, and electricity to go to the gate, and then we have the actual gate company that's coming.
And is it where you insert your card and then the gate goes open? Is that how that's gonna work?
So it'll be 2 ways, and again, essentially it's a deterrent. So again, as you come up, there will be a proximity that gate will lift, and then it will go back down,
Going out, we assume.
both ways.
Is there more than
Is that
one
tricky?
gate?
I mean, why can't the burglar do that?
If the burglars, again, we can, and we have the capability to lock it down essentially so that anybody going in and out would need a card, would need something, proximity. We have that. We know that how these heinous criminals are working is the easy one, the easy get. If they see a gate, they're not gonna know. I mean, sure, they can, I don't anticipate that it's, again, we'll work through that once the gate's here, to know the capabilities, to know, because again, otherwise to the Shirley's point, visitors, staff members, everybody, I forgot my card, I didn't get my card, things of that nature. So we'll work through all of that.
Is there more than one gate?
Yes, there's one there and there's one back here.
Good, I was wondering about coming through from.
Yeah,
like-
there's gates on both
And
sides.
the burglaries and the car thefts were daytime and someone even reported it? And still nothing
I had
happened?
2 staff members that yelled at them. And I asked my staff members never to engage with them because obviously, but the CNA was on the phone with 911. The receptionist actually went out and I saw them on camera and they yelled and they continued. So it was at 2 p.m. and 5 p.m.
And they did take the cars, actually.
Yes,
Were they both Kias and
yes.
Hyundais?
No, Hyundais. So again, that's where it's, I wish, and again, I wish this were an easy solve of this is an East Castle Place issue. It's not. It's a Milwaukee pandemic. And when we call the police, that's not their top priority, unfortunately. We have, unfortunately, have called, and again, even in that situation, they responded 8 hours later because A, guess what, the police force is understaffed, and B, when there's shootings and things of that nature, and actually when the stolen cars are going Facebook Live and putting the cops on high-speed chases because they are stolen, that's where their priorities lie. So those are the issues, that we're encompassing. Now the fortunate thing obviously is that these punks, criminals, whatever you want to call them, are, not looking to be, I guess, abrasive or aggressive in that regard that we've seen. I know that it's out there, but that's, again, the safety and security that we need to continue to focus on and keep everybody safe.
The police want me to advise you you're trying to take steps to prevent this, they won't even advise you about how to go about it or what you should
So,
say.
and I think I put this in a memo or two, and I know I've spoken about it in Coffees with Tyler. The question was raised about, what's the best deterrent, right? So, putting the club on your steering wheel, the old school club, I'm sure you can get them from District 1, for free, putting those on your car. I've asked District 1 to round in our parking lots, to come in for a cup of coffee, to come in for a lunch, to do their paperwork in our parking lots, to be a deterrent. And so that's where you will see police roll through. That's why I've called 4 to 5 different security firms to ask them to sit in our parking lot overnight. I can't even get a call back. We had one actually come on site, and then they never gave us a bid. And so again, it's the deterrents are lock your doors. First and foremost, if you have a Hyundai or a Kia, get a club for your steering wheel, and try to move your car every 24 hours or so. Those are the deterrents that the police have come back to us with.
Surveillance camera obviously didn't scare anybody off at all.
We have the best surveillance
I know
cameras. They've told us that, and they want our footage, and so we provide them footage every time. But generally, by the time they get it, they already have the cars back because it's a 2-hour joyride that the people are going on.
They're kids.
Yeah, they're 14 to 17 years old, and they get put in juvenile detention for 4 to 10 days, and then they're back out. So, again, it's a bigger issue. Shorewood's up 400% from car thefts. On break-ins, we're up over 200. So.
Some of the cars have been damaged and the intent was not to drive them away. It was to damage them. How will the gate prevent that kind of behavior?
So, what we've seen in both those instances is cars coming into the parking lot with the criminals.
Oh, they drove them in. They were
Yeah,
that crazy.
It's a group.
Yeah, they drive in a stolen car that they stole, and then they take another car or they break into another car. The gate would stop them from driving in. Rarely, if ever, have I seen somebody walk in from the
Coming
street
out front, yeah.
and walking in. Usually they come in pairs or threes, and they're coming in a vehicle. And again, with that gate, obviously it would deter them from even being able to come in.
And what makes you believe that they only wanted to damage them? Mine was broken into, and they didn't steal it because they were stupid punks. And but they destroyed my dashboard. But they didn't come in. They thought they could start the ignition from the damage. You think that people are coming in just to scratch up cars and to break windows?
From what I've seen, it's always they're either looking to physically steal the car or steal from within the car.
If there's something good inside.
So again,
When my daughter was here, she saw smashed windshields. And that was not to drive the car away.
No.
yeah,
There was a lot of damage to
yeah.
that.
I don't know. I don't have the mindset on or intent of these unfortunate individuals that think that they need to be doing this. So.
I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not sure the gate, it will help,
Right.
but it won't solve.
That we need to start somewhere. And if we were to go to a fully enclosed, fenced campus, then we would put gates everywhere, and that would include the historic Downer Avenue area, which the Historic Preservation Committee may or may not like. So that's why we're putting a gate more further back here, where they basically to the dump is where that gate will go, so that the garbage trucks and things can still get in without having to hinder from a gate, so to speak. But they can't get into the parking lot. So, to your point, Ann, until we go to that full type of lockdown scenario, And even then, I've been in full gated communities and I've still seen things happen, unfortunately. I don't want to say where there's a will, there's a way. But again, my responsibility is to make sure that you feel as safe and secure as possible.
And in relationship to the garbage, is there no way you can just hire a guy who comes for 4 hours and does garbage and nothing else?
That seems sensible.
Does seem sensible. If you have somebody, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, that seems sensible, and I'll speak with Eric. But
Talking about Eric, do you think he's got too much on his plate?
Yes.
The rest of, I can't get anything, I bought a light fixture for our living room to have it put up, and that's been almost 2 weeks now, and it's been sitting down in their office, I guess, or their workroom, and I keep talking to Erica about it, and he'll say, yeah, I'm gonna talk to somebody, I'm gonna do it, and nothing ever gets done, and I hear that from so many people. We can't get anything done, and I think he's just got so many responsibilities that it's just hard to take care of the little details that everybody needs in their rooms.
Yes, I've had a problem since he was hired, when I first discussed it with him, and it has not been rectified yet. And his intention is good, his follow-through is terrible. He's doing too many jobs.
Yeah.
We used to have somebody in charge of housekeeping and laundry, that was their total job, their department.
it's a part-time position.
Well,
They
Ian,
oversaw
isn't
Newcastle.
that Ian?
He did too. Well, anyway, if somebody else had the responsibility besides, he's doing that. Now, we're gonna have reconstruction, he's gonna be really involved in that. Isn't he? Sure, he has to be. So, and, I've discussed with him whether he has too much. And he is Mr. Superman, he's gonna take on anything. His intentions are very good, but I just,
Well, we came by today.
he can't.
Follow-up is not very good.
He can't, and I don't know, you put in work orders,
Oh, that
I
doesn't.
mean, you don't get any
No,
response about it.
that's a laugh, the work orders are a laugh.
Forget it, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he's the one who came to flush the furnace in the heating thing in the apartment, because they had a problem below and all that, but I thought, I don't mind, but I would think someone else could have done that. You know what I'm saying? It's really
Not
his
the
job,
boss,
so
yeah.
he's been up twice about it, so. And by the way, there was not a problem there, but he wanted to make sure, but
Cause they had the sewage leak in the basement or whatever.
Judy Christopherson's
Yes.
apartment right below me had a problem again.
Still does, or still did last week.
So this is, always a conversation, and, I'll start with your question. Does Eric have too much on his plate? I meet regularly with him. I don't necessarily like to get into the full operational details. That's not what I want you to worry about. What I want is results. And again, a ceiling fan being hung, for over 2 weeks is too long, and I'm sure Eric would say that, and we do have a work order system. At the same time, I don't know, nor do I want to know, all the different tasks that our maintenance individuals are tasked with, because again, air conditioning, heating, things of that nature are going to be a priority over installing a ceiling fan, which I think we all agree. But at the same, a light fixture. But at the same time, there should be reasonable follow-up, and there should be follow-up of, this is what you can expect. And so again, I will circle back with Eric on that. I do meet regularly.
I accosted them both. They happened to be together this morning when I went swimming, and I asked him, Rusty was talking to him, and so at that point they said Rusty could come up tomorrow. So now I've got it pinned down.
Right.
But I will say, it took me you know, following up, many, many times to get it done. And I don't, it doesn't seem to me that you should have to do that. You should be able to get it done within a period of time.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and Eric would
And he
tell you the
seems to
same.
have a very nice crew on now. I mean, the other maintenance men all seem capable and,
Yeah.
nice, so that,
Not my experience.
yeah,
It is mine.
yeah, but if they don't come, then
Oh, I
here's how
have-
good they are.
I had to have other work redone that Nick did. Nick didn't know what he was
Well, now, see,
doing.
I
didn't know what
I
he was
think
doing.
Nick is really pretty good. I
Well,
like him. He does the work. I know, no, it's not personal, I know that.
Yeah.
But he has done some things for me, and he's always, in fact, I mentioned him today too. He's always very pleasant. He does what he
Oh,
needs
yeah.
to, and he'll usually say, can I do anything else since I'm here?
Mhm.
And I guess I've just been lucky too. One time, I put in the request 3 times. The third time, and I mean, it wasn't day,
Right, right.
and I mentioned to, I guess Lila, and she picked up the phone, and someone showed up quickly.
Well,
You know,
I wasn't that lucky.
I'm
It took
lucky,
me
I guess.
4 hours to install light bulbs in my kitchen. 4 hours. He said, you have 6 bulbs out there, and I have to go get them. Absolutely. An hour later, he came back. He had 2. So then he said, I have to go back and get some more. So, okay. Then he came back and he said, oh, you have 2 more, but they're different bulbs. I'll have to go back. Went back. I had to have the screen replaced on my back patio, you know, my balcony. And he didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't get the door off, anyway, the screen was bulging out and couldn't get the door on. Finally, Rusty came and redid the whole thing. So that was my experience with him. He's nice.
I think Nick has certain things that he does well, and certain things he's
That
not
he
so good
can't
at, and
do.
they shouldn't send him on those calls. But because he's lovely with me. We have a toilet issue all the time. He comes and he fixes and he gets new parts, they do whatever. And, as I say, he's very nice, but there are things that are not in his
That he
skill
can't do.
range.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I've been lucky, I guess.
Well, and again, I don't. These are very individual
Right, right.
pieces,
Right.
and I can assure you that Eric and his team across the board are here for you and doing everything they can to meet your needs and requests in a timely fashion and with accuracy. And so, again, you know, I definitely know that Eric is very, very strong in what he does. I have full confidence in him. But I also know that the number of work orders and the number of different requests have vastly increased in the last year plus. And so again, it's the age of the building, it's the newer different types of residents, so on and so forth. But all in all, again, the results are what you as residents want. And I think the large majority are understanding of, you know, yeah, the air conditioning's out in Bradford Terrace where the healthcare workers are, my light bulb should be on the back burner, right? That makes sense. I don't think I'm making any assumptions that you would say my priorities. But at the same time, if it's been 2 weeks and there's still not something that's done, obviously that's where the concern comes in, is to, you know, the communication piece of it, but also, you know, what's going on with it.
And my
But to
light
get
bulb
back-
is up, by the way.
To get back to the issue, is there really too much to do a good job? You know, you can't put more on a person that he can really handle well.
Right.
And so my issue is I think he needs more help. And
So-
I think that should be considered.
So, and again, that,
Yeah, so just think about it.
yeah, absolutely.
Because there are lots of things that he has to do that have nothing to do with the residents, that have to do with the building.
Right,
Yes.
I mean, for example, I saw him one day working with 2 other people to put up the flag. Now, that was not a work order, there was something wrong with the flag, And so they were all consulting how to put it up properly. But what I'm saying is that he not only has us to worry about, he has the building and the painting and the new
Yeah.
apartments and the managing all those people. He does have a lot on his plate.
Mhm.
So if he could get one more guy, maybe that would ease it up on him and everybody else.
And yeah,
Yeah, we've all raised our dues 3%, so that I think maybe we can afford just a little bit more help. How about that?
what you're asking is about another 5 or 8%.
Well, reallocate,
Okay.
because, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
Certainly.
again, I want to be able, you deserve the service. Absolutely. And as you also know, and again, not your issue, this is why you live here, the labor pool is not very deep, and the good people that are here, we need to keep and retain, and that's why we've done the significant things that we've done. And again, that's going to continue. And again, it's easy to say, well, one more person will solve. It's not necessarily, because it also you have to find the right person.
Did you raise the salaries for the CNAs and all the rest of the staff as well as the kitchen people? Everybody got something.
What about the housekeepers, Sam?
Housekeepers got, Shirley, you've asked this before, and I can assure you that our housekeeping rates are as competitive, if
No,
not
no,
the
I'm not
competitive.
asking that, I'm asking, did they get a raise with everybody else?
Not everybody got
Not
raises.
everybody got a raise.
Correct.
Okay.
Not everybody got raises.
Okay.
So the primary raises this last year were our food and beverage staff and our CNAs and nurses.
Okay,
So again, that's where, again, the year prior is when the housekeeping,
Yeah.
maintenance, and
okay.
that's when market adjustments were made. And so again, we feel confident, even with that confidence. We know that the labor pool just isn't there. The labor may be there, but it's not the right labor. I mean, we're not necessarily warm body hiring. That's the last thing we're doing. We'd rather run short, and unfortunately, that's something that we've really stayed tried and true to, that I still fully believe, and we will not get away from. At the same time, there's burnout and everything else. You've seen the signs. You see restaurants that are now, instead of open 7 days a week, they're open 5 days a week. We're a 7-day week operation, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week operation, much like everybody else. So again, that's why. But again, you live here. You expect me, as well as the staff, to take care of that because you pay for that service. And so again, there's expectations that you should have with us, and they should be very, very high. And I feel that we can, the large majority of the time, meet those needs. And I think that there's been strides made, over the course of the last 2 years, so on and so forth, but there's always room for improvement. And so again, in regards to that department, and Eric, I fully have 100% confidence in his abilities, and so my job is to make sure that he feels the same support and that he has the support. And so again, Eric and I have really good conversations at least once a week, if not every day, but strategic discussions about departments and things of where they're at. And so again, that's where it's my role, along with Eric, to make sure that the services are being supported.
I think everybody likes Eric. I think
Everybody
he's
has
doing
confidence.
a great job.
Yeah.
It's not an Eric thing.
No.
It's too much for him, maybe.
It's too much, that's why. And I don't think he's the kind of person that wants to admit it, he wants to
Right,
do
you
it.
won't complain about it.
And that's important for
Yeah.
him. But I want you to know that the staff, even though it's been difficult to keep people, every one of them has been so kind and
Yes.
so polite and so caring. And I wrote a note to Carlos and the staff about the picnic we had, which was lovely, and they took their day off to make ours
Yeah.
pleasant.
Yeah. So.
They need that too.
Absolutely. Those, again, I truly believe, and again, we're seeing it even more, and it's kind of what we talked about with the staff, in regards to the vaccine requirement that we've put forth. the individuals, obviously, there's a large majority that have already been vaccinated that will continue to work here, and those that are considering or have started to get the vaccination, even as of today, we know they want to be here. That's who I want to be alongside. So, I think to everybody's point, the individuals that you're interacting with on a daily basis are individuals that truly love working at East Castle Place, that truly love working with you. And so, again, it's who we want. The quality is there. Sometimes we're missing the quantity of the individuals to help get the job done, which results in delays and some service failures. But at the end of the day, I'm confident in the team members we have, all the way from our Nick in the dish room, all the way up through Anna and the marketing team. So each of us play a vital role. And I know that the CNAs and the housekeeping staff, the maintenance staff, the dishwashers, the servers, those are the ones that we need to make sure that are be taken care of, know are appreciated and supported.
But now the housekeeping staff, I don't see much turnover there. Do you have much? They seem to be loyal and coming back every time. I think that you've got a good game there.
Yeah. Same thing with maintenance. We haven't turned maintenance staff over.
That's right.
So same thing with laundry. We haven't turned laundry staff over either.
We don't know the laundry staff, I don't think.
Well, know that they haven't really turned over too much,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. So
Where have you got the turnover? CNAs and kitchen.
Yeah.
That's,
where there's jobs aplenty, and that if you don't like something or the way that they're held accountable, they can and then go wherever they would like
yeah.
and be transient.
I know you don't have the numbers, and I don't know if you could tell us anyway. Do you feel that most of the staff who have not been vaccinated yet, do you think most of them will?
Yeah, we were just talking about that because we do have a list and we know how many aren't and how many have been, and having those conversations on the front end, and we probably anticipate probably about 5 to 10 individuals. There's been a few that have voiced they're going to leave healthcare altogether.
Okay.
And because again, we're not the only ones that are requiring it. If you've seen on the news now, city and state individuals are required to get it. And so again, we're making those exemptions, like the flu, for medical and religious purposes. But again, they'll have to be continuing to test and go through special requirements to make sure they're safe. But
did someone tell me that Summerfest, when you go in,
Yep.
demands proof of vaccination?
Yes, yes.
Good for them.
yeah, no, Summerfest definitely is, and there's a number of different large events that are going that direction.
Yeah.
So,
Hope you've all made copies.
yeah.
Well, and you really didn't have much choice here about
Mandating.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody being vaccinated.
Right.
Because that was the national.
yeah, I mean, the President of the United States said, we'll stop your funding, essentially,
That was good.
which again, obviously,
Well, it supported you in
Well,
your decision.
it did. I wish he would have just included the hospitals as well,
Yeah.
instead of just long-term care. I mean, that was the announcement he made, that all long-term care facilities must be vaccinated. Obviously, they're the ones that are getting the tough PR. Obviously, all the hospitals have gone that direction, healthcare in general, but it's just with the labor market already stretched. Again, doing the right thing is not always the easiest decision. I can't say that all the assisted living and CBRFs that aren't needing state funding, may not see the effects, but we'll see. So I know it's the right thing. I know the science, and I know the effects, or rather the lack of effects that COVID has on an individual that has the vaccine. You see it throughout. I was just reading a story because obviously the NFL season is coming upon us. The NFL is a really interesting take on it. I mean, over 95% of their players and personnel are vaccinated. They did not see the full team spread like they did last year with the vaccine. it would be maybe one of those breakthrough cases, and that's it. Even though they're in close contact, obviously, they're not seeing the spread. So I just take that on a very microscopic type of view of, okay, how are we not saying that this isn't working? You know, if on such a large scale that generally is, you know, well understood in the NFL.
But what about the 500 people that came down with COVID after the Brewers gala? There were at least 500 people.
What?
reported.
The Bucks,
The Bucks,
No,
The
wasn't
Brewers.
it the Brewers? The Brewers when they won.
the Bucks,
the Bucks,
The
You-
Bucks?
the Milwaukee Bucks, the
Where
NBA.
everybody
Are you
was-
speaking about the NBA team where everybody was in that
Listen,
small?
You know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
talking to
What?
sports
no,
ignorant.
but you are talking about where all those people
Where
were.
all
Yeah.
those people were
Right.
smashed in together. And there were 500 cases at least reported
Yeah.
from that one incident.
Yeah.
And the one in North Dakota, is it, or South Dakota, where 700,000 people went to that small town of 7,000.
Oh, that
Oh,
Sturgis
Sturgis.
thing.
Yeah.
And that
Oh,
that
the
is,
motorcycle boys.
yeah. I mean, that was pre-vaccine, I think.
No.
Or is this more recent?
This
They did
is-
it again.
Oh, okay. I was still thinking it was last year.
Last
'cause
year, and
obviously
then they
this.
did it
They do
again.
it every year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't we have an issue though, for example, I know that you said that for religious reasons and health reasons, all that, you would give people exemptions.
Mhm.
Does that make any sense? I mean, I know we don't wanna infringe on their whatever, but if we allow people for religious reasons not to be vaccinated, they still can infect everybody.
Oh, but they go
Yes.
through different protocols. So they have to be tested at least once a week. I mean, we're all wearing masks, but their mask requirement would remain in place. And again, per law, that I can't be above, you know, religious and medical exemptions have to be granted. You're right. The chance is still there. Absolutely.
Do we have many exempted on that basis?
I don't have those numbers yet.
No, I mean, do we have some? We do
Yeah.
have some.
I mean, every community over 100 employees is going to have some. But again, I can't infringe on that right. And again, that's a law that is above me. But again, I think the thought is that those that are vaccinated are still protected, and we're seeing that transmission rate isn't going from you who's unvaccinated to you who's unvaccinated to me who's unvaccinated. It's going maybe from you who's unvaccinated to somebody that is vaccinated, has a breakthrough
Stops
case,
there, yeah.
and stops there. And unfortunately, those that are unvaccinated are the ones that are getting hit the hardest in the hospital, and that's the numbers that are rising. The vaccinated individuals are able to weather that storm outside of the hospital and be back on their feet much quicker.
Have you given some education to people who
Oh.
are not vaccinated? Because there's one little, very cute little gal in the kitchen, I asked her if she was vaccinated, she said no, and I said, oh golly, and she said, my mama doesn't want me to be vaccinated. I said, oh, what's that? She said, I have asthma. Now, all the more reason the child
It's
should be
backwards.
vaccinated,
Yeah.
but there's that, the misconception that if you've got a chest problem, by God, stay away from that COVID. So, as I say, are some of those things being
Oh,
explained?
education is very, very prevalent. It has been for some time. And again, our whole goal is to not lose people because we're asking them to be vaccinated. That's not the intent of it.
No.
It's for their safety and security. And I'm not even, I mean, again, safety and security for you all, but you all are vaccinated, right?
Yes.
I'm more concerned when they go home and they have little ones or loved ones that aren't vaccinated and
But they'll catch
potentially.
something.
And again, I think that's why we're all talking about this and why it's such a
What
news.
are talking about the third,
They are talking about the third. I mean, and then there will be a fourth, and then there will be a fifth. You know, I don't.
Flu.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't see this truly ever going away. I see this as something that, will become a part of who we are. Again, this is me personally, like the flu. It's there, right? But there's vaccines, and we get the vaccine, and we take the educated right steps, and so that's what we
but this didn't have to happen.
right. And again,
Still going on.
Tragic.
to that degree, I don't have that piece. Unfortunately, I can't stake that claim either. So
Well,
But you
compared
just take their word
no,
for it.
no, it has to have a doctor's signature for a medical, and it has to have a pastoral signature with letterhead.
Okay.
So it's not just oh, this is what I feel,
Oh.
here's a signature, give me the exemption. It has to be on pastoral or church letterhead from pastor's signature,
Good.
as well as a doctor's, essentially order.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's ways to fake that too. I can't
No,
regulate
yeah.
all that, you know? But again, we're not just saying, oh, if you don't want it, we'll take your word for it, by all means.
any word on Moderna boosters?
Not yet.
Pfizer's out there,
Pfizer's out there.
Yeah.
Pfizer's fully approved.
and, CVS, or where does one get them?
CVS, Walgreens, Costco, Walmart,
Okay.
they're great. I mean, give a call. Also call your physician. They should have
Yeah,
that.
but they tell you not to mix it.
Yeah, I was
Well,
gonna
but
say.
you-
No, I'm a Pfizer though.
Oh, you're a Pfizer.
Yeah, she's a Pfizer.
Oh,
So she's speaking out of school, so to speak.
Yeah.
She got hers outside of East Castle.
Yes.
Good for you.
I got mine real early, so.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So
Nothing, except when you see what's happened at some senior living establishments. We're very well off, you know?
That's perfect.
100%
Well,
residents.
Not many of us are, but just us, you know.
It's you
Boy,
and
it
your
could
family.
spread like wildfire in a place like this.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, for the last 18 months. I mean, that's why we've gone through the restrictions and why we've kind of gone through the different variations, so to speak.
We're having visitors again, aren't
We've been having visitors, yeah,
we? Yeah.
but not in the dining room.
Yes.
Mid-October, you think? Unless things go back downhill again.
We're hoping for October. We're hoping for September. I was hoping for September of 2020.
That's right, yeah.
You know,
Hope springs
you
eternal.
know. But yeah, nonetheless, you know, we are looking to open the dining room for lunch next week.
Oh, good.
So you can enjoy lunch with your neighbors starting next week.
And will the
May.
bistro be open
The
for
bistro will
buying?
not.
Okay,
No, the bistro will not. Again, it comes back to kind of that, there's certain days we could open it very easily because of staffing. Other days where we need to make sure we can take care of the rest. We're confident that we can open up the dining room, where you can dine, the to-goes, you can still order your to-goes however you'd like. And again, we still will deliver those for lunch.
so that CNAs, the various people who used to pick, buy their lunch in the bistro,
They order it through the front desk.
they can still
Oh
get
yeah, we've been doing that for
very inexpensive, nice,
less than $5 a meal.
okay, so that
What
does
are we
exist.
talking about?
The bistro and employee meals.
Right, but, residents can't do that.
No.
That's right, so that's a perk if you're
It's a perk and it's a more limited menu.
yeah.
So, but yes, that is available. So, and that's been available. Again, it's not a free lunch, but it's cheaper than if you go down to McDonald's for sure. And it's
interesting
definitely
that,
healthier.
The staff, everybody, for example, the maintenance men, they do not get a free lunch.
No,
No one does, do
no.
That's
I mean,
interesting
no
to me that they
such
work an
thing as a
8-hour,
free
they work an
lunch.
8-hour shift over lunch, yet we don't provide them lunch.
they get a lunch break,
And then they have to go and buy lunch.
or they bring it from
Bring it.
home.
I guess so.
You know, that's kind of the norm. You know, I don't get a free lunch either.
I
Just
know,
because,
but it's crazy to me.
but
And I understand that people who have caregivers, don't feed them.
that's up to them and their private duty caregivers. I mean, I don't know what
It
requirements
never
are out
dawned
there.
on me that I wouldn't feed them.
Yeah.
And they're there over lunch.
So,
I noticed something yesterday when I was walking.
what's that?
There was a car parked just at the edge of the circular driveway out on the street. And about 4 of our staff in the blue running down there, got in the car. And they also, I don't know whether they just spent their off time there or whether they were smoking or something there. I don't know. So I was wondering what they were doing there. somebody had gone and gotten a car, it wasn't, they're parked there permanently, because
Mhm.
they were too far. So it was just strange.
I can't speak to that.
No,
I mean,
don't know.
oftentimes I will see staff members go and carpool to a lunch spot or
Sure,
The
get off
girls
spot.
frequently go, or
You know?
they walk to Downer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm all for that. I mean,
It was so
that-
funny that they all just jumped in the car.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've learned a lot.
yeah.
I'm glad I came.
Yeah, sorry I don't have all the answers, but there's definitely follow-up items for me, and I appreciate that.
But I do think that the security issue should go to the resident council, because I think people need to know more about it and, you know, express their concerns.
Well, a gate isn't gonna solve the problems in the parking lot, because people can walk over like the little
Around
hedge
the
out
gate.
here.
Anyway,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's, you know, to be fully fenced in, fully secure, that's the only way.
So if they can't get out, I mean, that after a certain hour, if it's, you know, you can't get out, then if they come in and wanna vandalize, they can do that on
Yeah,
foot.
or
But they
steal.
can't steal the car.
No,
Right.
they can't steal the car, but they can sure mess it up, as I know from my own
But I
experience.
think that their motivation is that they wanna steal the car. They're not thinking that we've got gold bricks in the trunk.
Well, sometimes there are gold bricks in the trunk, but they don't know that and they don't worry about that.
That's right. When they see the trunk sagging, they know.
Yeah, they're more,
They want the car.
it's a game, unfortunately. It's a game for them to be able to say they stole a car.
Oh, yeah, what a coup to tell your friends, hey, did you see the Hyundai I got yesterday?
Right, for 2 hours and took it for a joyride, and when I'm,
And do
You
they
know, social
smash them
media.
up then, or do they
no,
leave
they
them?
just leave them.
Well, let me tell you a story then. I worked.
Shirley, can you take your mask off a moment, because I can't understand a word you're saying.
Oh, well, I don't think you're missing that much. But when I was working, with, kids that had been, kicked out of school, we worked with these kids. I had a program for them at JVS. And, one of our, they had key rings, that they had keys that would fit in all different lines. And one of the kids was 11, no, he was older than 11 years, but when he was 11, he and his brother stole cars. His brother was 7. He was not big, tall enough to be able to reach down to the pedal. So his brother, depressed the
Sure.
pedal,
Oh,
and he did the driving. They stole that car, and they just drove it till they hit a pole or something.
Yeah,
And there was no, no reason for that.
Right. So you're saying
I think-
stealing and has been around for some time.
Well, yeah, and fact that there isn't a reason. I mean, if you're poor and you wanna resell the car, I had mine stolen there where I work too. And that they took it to a chop place where they were gonna send it all over, but that's different. They were getting money for it, they wanted it. But just kids just constant.
Some of them get on Facebook, you know,
And
so
saying about it?
no one will ever see it, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's unfortunately, I heard from a police officer that's how they found the kids,
It's their house.
because they were on Facebook and they were driving in the stolen car on Facebook,
That
and
was smart.
unfortunately, then they led them on a bit of a chase.
Do we have drinking drugs involved as well? or
No, not
These
usually.
are sober kids
These are
who are
just
just crazy
bored.
loud.
They're too young.
And they're younger and younger.
Oh, I think they think they're, on a video game.
Yeah.
Certainly the way people are driving looks like they think they're doing video games in and out.
Well, we do know there are challenges.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
No, we
And you're
didn't do
going-
anything.
Oh no, you're going through your own challenges too. We all have our challenges, but I guess what my task is to make sure that we limit those challenges, make sure you're feeling safe and secure in your home, and also that, you know, lights and things of that nature are being taken care of in a timely fashion. So
You're always gonna have problems. You're always gonna have changes. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're fully staffed or if the world changes, there's gonna be something.
oh, I mean, 5 years ago, or even 3 or 4 years ago when I started, it was a lot different, you know, and things weren't easy then, you know, but again, that's honestly what what drives and what we keep coming back to, because even with the challenges, the rewards, and the impact, I know, just again speaking for myself personally, that I'm able to have and make in different individuals' lives is why I come back, and why I keep coming, and why I keep striving to be the best.
I live right by that outside door to Downer. There is so much traffic in and out with people. It's, that door is going bang, bang all day long.
Who are those people?
Who knows? There are offices on that floor, several offices, you know.
Wait, are you
Goes
saying?
Into the,
Are you
you're talking
saying
historic?
the historic building, that sidewalk?
Downer door.
Yeah, just before the Galleria.
Yeah.
There's-
Yeah.
Are those people, is that okay for them to come? Sometimes they're quite youthful looking.
Hopefully they're staff members, or, I mean, I know that there's,
How many people have keys to that door?
well, there's no, if you're inside, you don't need a key to get out.
Right, but
Residents,
there's a
every
lot of
resident.
people coming in.
I know I've been in that door a couple times, usually once, twice a week. Residents all have keys to that door. I, again, can't tell you 100% that residents aren't giving their private duty aides keys to get in that way. I hope not. And again, that's a reminder that Teresa could definitely give out, but
Does that key, can people get copies made
No.
from that key?
no,
They
it says
can't.
do not
Good.
duplicate.
Okay.
So yeah,
But
no.
there's been a change, you know, I lived in that apartment 14
What?
years ago. I lived in your apartment.
Oh,
And
You lived
that's a
in my
change.
apartment?
Yes, and that's a change because it was perfectly quiet.
Yeah, I know that there's at least every 2 to 4 times a day a resident that will walk out that door, for sure. I do know, I mean, again, we have cameras, but I don't monitor the camera.
I
But-
come in there occasionally, and sometimes you even let me in.
Well, you're
You
okay.
have the password.
Yeah, please.
You're okay.
So,
Well,
But-
I think there's a lot of traffic
okay.
coming in there.
Sit
I
in the
just
chair on the top of the stairs and look them over. I mean, tell Tyler who's signing.
ask 'em.
Yeah. Well, no, if you're seeing, you know, again, I haven't heard that. I know that, of course, we have a number of offices down that way and upstairs. I do know that staff will walk out there when they're on their break to get outside. There is concrete that's getting fixed in the near future right out
Oh,
there.
that's a good thing.
So,
Cause you could have a lawsuit on
Yeah,
your hands
which
if
obviously
some
we don't
little
want,
old
so.
lady falls down.
so yes. Anything else?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Oh, I got a question for you. Has the plan to expand this facility been in the works a long time? Why now, and how did it happen that suddenly they decided that they could get rid of all of the renters and make some money and expand the facility? Why? What was the impetus right now?
So the question for those that are still watching was, what was the impetus for the why now of expanding and renovating? And was it in the works for a long time and things of that nature? Again, I can tell you that there's been discussions, but the finality of it was in April of this year, which is when the determination was made. There was obviously market research and different things that happened prior to that, and did due diligence. But again, the finality of that was not until April. So why now? Market research, and also, the driving force behind it was healthcare and bringing everybody into one building. That was the driving force. That was what, from the moment I got here, I saw that this was going to be a concern until it was fixed, because of the different ways staff had run back and forth, and the way we're delivering food back and forth, the number of personnel we need back and forth. And so, you know, that was the driving force behind it. The other piece of it, obviously, was the market and who we are, and the amenities and services we provide, and which direction we want it to be. You know, and so obviously those were all discussions that were had. Again, you don't make these decisions overnight. The reason why now is that, you know, based on market research and based on the demand, we feel confident that we can move forward.
And with COVID, don't we have lesser demand? I mean, we have, are we all subscribed for the new building? And our apartments here are not
No.
fully booked.
No.
But we think that if we have more, we'll have more occupancy?
Based on market research and based on the age of the population, that an income qualified population that's coming to be in the next 5 years. Also, we have a record number of sales this year in my time. We have 14 sales. Unfortunately, we also had a record amount of people leaving the community, leaving the independent living, whether that's
Right.
to assisted living, skilled nursing, or the Celestial.
How many is that?
Too many to count. We're over 18 right now for the year. The actuarials show no more than 10. So when you double that, it affects the community. You know, less than 2 years ago, we were 100% occupied.
That's why I wondered why they chose this time when with COVID, people are not moving into places, I don't think, where they're gonna be quarantined and they're gonna be stuck and they're gonna be in.
We've moved over 12 couples, individuals in this year. Last year, before COVID, was 10. So we actually moved more people in this year than we did the prior year and the year prior. So again, we see the market want. We have 30 priority deposits now for the apartments. Again, not all of those will move in. But again, it's another 2 years, and where we're at. And again, just knowing kind of where we're at from a market research standpoint, as well as
baby boomers are coming.
I think that is.
I mean,
That's what we're looking forward to.
Well, I mean, there's a number of individuals we can serve right now, you know, and that's why we've had 13, soon to be 14 residents close on an apartment and move in.
How many vacancies do we still have?
We currently have 7. 7 that are not fully spoken for. We currently have 72 out of the 82 apartments not occupied, meaning that we have 3 that are in transition of being sold and just waiting for those residents to fully move in to count for occupancy. With that being said, we have a very, very strong referral base right now of inquiries, and again, there's a want. We have good individuals coming through our doors.
Great.
So again, yeah, I mean, the best time to do all this would have been, you know, maybe 2-3 years ago. But then we could have been in the midst of construction and COVID would have happened, and then we would have had workers, and then what would have happened? So there's a million different decisions and timing and reasons and hindsights that you can go through. And trust me, I've probably gone through 990 of them. But nonetheless, the board is excited. We're excited, and you know, we'll carry this forward. But there's a lot of things we can do ahead of that within the next 2 years, within the next 2 days, to provide the services to you as residents. And that's who my focus is on. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't focusing on the future of East Castle either. So there's a part of that, but ultimately my priorities are with you currently.
And we talked about food and what the response was to the 60/40.
I haven't heard too much from them.
So we don't know how many people have chosen the light plan and how many have chosen the.
Oh,
plan.
I do not have those. Maureen is tallying those. You have until September 30th.
Oh, I do.
No. Once you make that decision, you have to stay with that one for a year, is that correct?
Correct.
Oh, not in the discussion we had as a food committee, Carlos said he hoped that you would agree that in the first 3 months, if it becomes a hardship, that could in fact change.
As in any hardship, we never want those from residents. So I assure you, in any course, and hopefully there's that trust that's been built, we would always have that conversation, and I would not be open to it. But at the same time, in general, I do want, you know, us to be able to stick to a plan. But never will I want a resident to go through a hardship.
Okay.
So
So if I choose the 400 and find that we're starving every month, I might come to you with hardship.
my door is always open, just like to any residents here. My door is always open, and I feel we can always come to a reasonable solution. Maybe not the full solution that you want, but a reasonable one.
Well, I
And
think
so-
the only choice would be that they'd say, listen, 400 doesn't work for me, I wanna go to the full plan.
Right.
I would never say, no, I want a 200 plan, I
Right.
just either got 4 or 6.
Well, you know, that I just want to throw that out there. You never know what's going to come to the table. You know, but
Okay.
yeah, don't know those results yet. We'll tally them. We'll figure it out.
Interesting.
I better get mine in. Have you all got?
We have a
yours?
month, no, we have a month.
Yeah,
Still.
and please just write your name on the bottom.
Yeah.
There's not a signature line on the bottom. That was a mistake on my part. So what we're talking about is is the food plan. So you can make a choice between 600 points and 400
Oh,
points.
okay.
So that's what we're speaking to.
How do I do?
So you fill out the form that was within your envelope with your monthly service fee. You just check the box and you turn that into the front desk.
Oh, what, did they come? I
I
didn't get
just
that
had
one.
got my bill and there was nothing in
I
it.
don't
No,
think it's in
it's not with your
It's
bill.
separate.
It's with your monthly service fee letter,
Oh, the increases
the
in how much
increase
everything.
letter.
And it's on the
Yeah.
back of a page
It
there,
was on the back page of the food and beverage memo, and the memo said over on the bottom.
right,
Oh.
So if you need a copy, let me know.
they have them.
We have them, and
Your
we'll
door
even
is open.
my door is open, and we'll even include the signature line that's now present on
Oh, the
them.
new ones have a signature.
Yeah, it's a special edition. So
Yeah, it's a good idea. to
Yeah,
know
right?
Who did it?
yeah, definitely an
That's
oversight. And I'll even, I mean, again, it crossed my desk. It's crossed many desks, and just an
Human.
oversight. Just an oversight.
All right.
Of course, I also put a lot of stake in our front desk, saying, "Oh, of course, I know Miss Stone. She put in 400. Let me put her name on here." So, but no, that's on me. So
What about all the years that I had the full amount and never used?
can't go backwards. We're only looking
No,
to the future.
I'm thinking about that, so, I
Yeah.
think it's,
Okay,
if the budget's adequate, because I don't wanna see the food program harmed.
No.
But-
And that was the whole intent, and why we discarded $50 instead of 200.
and that's what happens though, if I take the $400 plan and I discover that I have to pay because I haven't done enough, then it's much cheaper for me to go to the 600
Absolutely,
and not bother with the $50 rebate,
absolutely,
Right.
so that, and then it'll be a hardship if I have to pay that, no.
right. But you can't go month to month.
No,
That is
no, no,
something.
no.
It's
No,
It's a
no,
one-time change. I just want to make
Exactly.
sure that, okay, I this month I think I can squeak under 400. Let me go and say I'll do the 400 and give me a $50
no, no,
rebate.
no.
Next month, I know I'm gonna have family and friends in. Let me go to the 600 and then I'll jump back to the 400. That's
No,
not how that's gonna work. That's gonna be a pretty quick conversation with us. But again, I don't want anybody to be in a hardship situation. So again, my door is always open. You can come. Feel free to talk with me. If you need to speak with somebody over the next 2 weeks, Carlos will be out of the office for the next 2 weeks, starting on Saturday. So I'm supporting the food and beverage team. So if there's questions or concerns, feel free to stop down by my door.
And you'll be cooking them every other week?
No, I will not be cooking every other week. Thankfully, we have Chef Tim and Chef Kathleen. So
With this age group, sometimes dinner is the highlight of the
Of the
day.
day.
absolutely, as it should be, as it should be.
Almost at any age.
Yes.
I know I'm looking forward to dinner.
I've always
Tonight.
liked food.
Yeah.
And family always got together.
Yeah,
for that
absolutely.
time.
Food, I mean, that's why I think we were joking about it earlier, if I had wine and cheese,
Yeah.
I'd have a crowd, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well,
Okay.
all
Thank
right.
you,
Well,
Jack.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your time and your insights and obviously your feedback. Because there's definitely a number of takeaways that I have. So.
great,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.